Mr David Linden.
Mr Speaker, and can I say what a pleasure it is to follow my honourable friend from Strangford, who has been a real source of encouragement in his fellowship to me since I joined this House, and I pay tribute to him. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to contribute to this Christmas adjournment debate, and before doing so would like to express my best wishes to the whole House, particularly the staff of the House, who have been incredibly welcoming to new members for a very happy and peaceful Christmas. When I volunteered to sum up this debate for the SNP, I had not quite been aware of what I was going to let myself in for, but we have had 16 backbench contributions from members from Harrow East, Keighley, Moll Valley, Caithness, Sutherland and Easter Ross, Beckenham, Ealing Central and Acton, Southend West, West Ham, Mid Worcestershire, Ilford South, Stafford, honourable friend from Edinburgh North and Leith, Kingston upon Hill North, East Ham, Mitcham and Morden, and of course Strangford. It has been probably the most wide-ranging debate I think I've ever sat in this House, and I pay tribute to the honourable gentleman from Southend West, who I think managed to get 25 or 26 different topics into this adjournment debate in 6.5 minutes, which is a real challenge for me next year. But I also want to place on record my sincere thanks to my constituency staff, Derek, Carol Ann, Emily, Ross, Laura, David and Michelle, for all their hard work since my election in June. Their support has been absolutely invaluable, and I'm truly indebted to them. Mr Speaker, the turn of the year is normally an opportunity for us to reflect on the year just past. However, with your indulgence, I want to look forward to 2018, and in particular to some of the major challenges coming down the track from my own city of Glasgow. On Friday last week, Mr Speaker, I met with Easter House Housing and Regeneration Alliance, which is a coalition of 8 independent community-based social housing providers in Greater Easterhouse. I think before going any further, I would like to pay tribute to the staff and directors of those 8 housing associations, because our housing associations in the East End of Glasgow are more than just that. They're the backbone of our community, and they go well above and beyond the role of a registered social landlord. And I think it's important that that point is placed on the record, and our sincere thanks are expressed to all housing associations, which are so often the glue that holds our communities together. But Mr Speaker, when I met with Ida last week, they expressed to me some serious concerns about changes emanating from the Department of Work and Pensions next year that will quite frankly be a hammer blow to the City of Glasgow, and a double blow at that. Ministers have already signalled their intention to close half of Glasgow's job centres, with 3 out of the 4 job centres in Glasgow's East End due for the axe. As it stands, job centres in Easterhouse and Parkhead, as well as Bridgeton in the constituency of my honourable friend from Glasgow Central, will all be closed and relocated to Shettleston. Mr Speaker, nowhere in the UK is being as disproportionately impacted by these closures as Glasgow's East End, an area which has an unemployment rate that is double that of the UK national average. And I'm afraid that despite countless written questions, items of correspondence and a face-to-face meeting at Caxton House, the Employment Minister has repeatedly failed to take account of the very profound concerns expressed by myself and the whole community in Glasgow's East End. And that includes our 3 East End Tory councillors who also oppose these closures. More than happy to give way to Chief.
Thank him for giving way. The job centre closures, as he says, are affecting the whole city of Glasgow. And is he particularly concerned, as I am, that the ministers have neither been very reassuring on whether or not this will actually be the last round of closures, and there is a real risk that further down the road the city could lose even more of its job centre provision?
I'm very grateful to my friend from Glasgow North for that intervention. I think he's absolutely right. And the fact that ministers have not clarified that point should be sounding the alarm bells in our city, and I very much join him in expressing that concern. But I would say to the government that it is not too late to drop these plans, and they should conduct a full equality impact assessment of shutting local job centres. And I think, Mr Speaker, when they do that, they will see for themselves the very profound challenges posed in terms of sanctions, poor transport connections, and the deep-rooted issues of territorialism and gang violence that still exist in our city. The second issue of concern expressed to me by IRA, Mr Speaker, last week relates to universal credit. The social destruction that is universal credit is due to be unleashed on Glasgow next year, and it's crystal clear from the debates that we've already had in this House that universal credit is simply not working. More than that, it is fundamentally flawed, and the tweaking around the edges that we saw during the budget simply isn't enough. Major concerns still exist, not just from politicians across both sides of the House, but from housing associations in the third sector as to how universal credit is due to be rolled out, particularly in Glasgow. Every day, more evidence is mounting and showing that universal credit is creating social destruction as it continues to roll out across these islands. And I would say to the Minister that the reduction from 6 weeks to 5 weeks, although welcome, is not enough. The wait for the first payment of universal credit is pushing people into rent arrears, debt and crisis, and we know that 25% of claimants are even waiting longer than 6 weeks, and that's according to the Department of Work and Pensions. I'm afraid that the manner in which the Tories have rolled this out is completely opposed to their stated intention of making universal credit mirror a salary. And the refusal to halt the rollout is nothing more than arrogance, Mr Speaker, because we see from the party opposite that they are wedded to this ideological flagship welfare cut, despite the misery that's actually causing in our local communities. Mr Speaker, Citizens Advice Scotland have said that evidence from 5 bureaus where universal credit has been fully rolled out have shown an average of a 15% rise in rent arrears issues compared to a national decrease of 2% and an 87% increase in crisis grant issues compared to a national increase of 9%. They've also analysed over 52,000 cases that they had seen and concluded that those on universal credit would, on average, appear to have fewer than £4 per month left to pay all their creditors after they had paid essential living costs. And I don't think that's something that we should be condoning in this House. And finally, the Trussell Trust have reported seeing a 17% increase in food bank usage in areas of full universal credit rollout, more than double that of the national average. In my own local food bank, Glasgow North East Food Bank, run by Tara Maguire, is already at breaking point, and I think what we'll see with full universal credit rollout in Glasgow could well be the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's why I'm very much calling today for the rollout of universal credit to be halted in Glasgow and to be abandoned entirely. And I think if there is one thing, Mr Speaker, that I've learned in my time in this House is that this government has a very difficult job of listening. We see that with opposition day debates, we see that with the power grab that they're trying to do by way of the Brexit bill. So if I could, with this Christmas spirit, I would urge ministers to come back to this House with a New Year's resolution to listen and to act in the interest of our communities, and they can start by doing that by abandoning the proposed closures of Glasgow's job centres and halting the universal credit rollout in the City of Glasgow. Thank you.